Well, it's a while since I've talked about writing, and but over a year ago I said that I was about to write a book, and I was going to hope that you would all encourage me to do so. And many of you have been very encouraging over the year. I haven't written the book that I had planned to. I have, however, written another one, and there will be more information about that in time. But it is certain to be published, probably next spring, 2025. But for those of you who are thinking about writing, I thought I might share some of my experience as I've gone along. And as a person who has over the years published about 10 books, I've never made a huge amount of money. So if you're looking for top tips for how to make a fortune being a writer, this is not your channel. But I have been able to concentrate and get the work done. And so I thought a little clip talking about that might be helpful. If you're new to the channel, you're very welcome. Please do subscribe, press the bell icon, and we'll tell you when we've got more clips coming up. And if any of the tips and tricks I give you along the way are useful, you can always buy me a coffee, or better still, join my club. The links to coffee buying and club membership are in the blurb to all my clips. And I answer all the comments I get on my YouTube clips. So often there's quite an interesting conversation that builds up with people having an opinion one way or another, or something to contribute in the comments, and lots of people join in, so that's always fun. That's one of the things I like about YouTube. So I tell you how I did this. One, I was given the commission in early autumn last September, and I thought, I have tried rewriting this book before, and it's always taken, I've always fallen by the wayside because there's too much to do on the flower farm. And because the flower farming feels as though it is quicker money. Might not be as much money, but it feels quicker money. So I always do the thing that supplies the quick money. And so the writing took a back seat and therefore never got done. So the way that I've done this winter is, for those of you who know, I went on a personal development day with my friend and colleague, well, she's not my colleague, but she's my friend, Alice Armstrong-Scales of Armstrong Sales Coaching. And one of the things we talked about on that day was focusing on one job at a time. And I know I always talk about this, but I'm good at talking the talk, not necessarily walking the walk. So I came back from that day very much determined that I was going to just work in a much more strategic fashion. I was going to divide my days up, and 5 days a week I would be writing. Not for very long. I don't have very long because I'm a flower farmer. This is not my core business. But I decided that I would write an hour a day or 1,000 words, whichever came first. And because I'm writing about a subject I know well, and it's fact, not fiction, I find it quite easy. And because I've been teaching the subject for years and years and years. The phone's ringing. I'm going to have to take it. Sorry. And the other reason it's quite quick is because I really believe strongly in just get the work down, get the words down, edit afterwards. You can't edit an empty page, but you can absolutely completely rewrite a manuscript. But at least you've got something to start with. So I'm now at the editing stage. So having got a manuscript, I'm now rereading it slowly, and some of it I think is okay, some of it I think is terrible. I quite often am drawing a square around a block and go, move it to page this or something or other. But at least I've got something to work on. And I have given myself a really strict schedule. I need to get this basic edit done in a fortnight. So we are the 2nd of May. I'm going to get it done before the Chelsea Flower Show, because then I can deliver it to the publisher and they have loads of time to work through what they want to do with it. And you know, I'm really not proud. Anyone who's ever asked me to do any journalism for them knows I will give them the piece and I go, edit, do what you like. Cut it out, cut half of it. I rearrange it completely. I really don't mind. I'm not precious about my words. I'm precious about what I'm trying to say. So long as the meaning is clear and the information I'm trying to partake. Now I've got to go because my friend Anne is here. Hang on. So that was my friend Anne collecting stuff for the plant sale, which is next week. Anyway, so the edit. So get the work. So my advice to you is give yourself an amount of words to do per day, at least 5 days a week, and do them. Sit still until you do them, and you'll get faster. I promise. Because I think that the writing muscle is like any muscle. The more you exercise it, the better you get. So manuscript now done, editing process. I'm giving myself till Chelsea Flower Show because then the editors can do what they will with it. While I'm at it, I'm making various lists of images, contributions, references, book lists, and so on, so that the appendices at the end of the book can be nicely done. And tea cake, you having a scratch? It's my tea cake, it's my dog. Very chatty. Teeks, come and say hello. Come on, whoosh whoosh me. Come on. Here. Hello. Here's my dog. She's my friend. So when I get up early in the morning to write, she comes and sits on my feet and keeps me warm. Anyway, so she doesn't like being on anyone's knee. So if you're thinking of writing a book, my best advice to you is get the words on paper, because then you've got something to edit. Give yourself an amount to do per day, and you're not allowed to leave your chair until you've done it. If you have to go to a full-time job, like I do with my flower farming, then make it a manageable amount of time. Don't say I will write 10,000 words a day, or a manageable amount of words. So this book, which one of you recommended, Anne Lamott's Bird by Bird, I've really enjoyed reading books about how to write while I've been writing. And this is lovely. And she says 300 words a day. I'd say definitely that's possible. I'm going to put my dog down. She feels very uncomfortable. But I think everybody probably can do 300 words a day, even if you've got a full-time job. This Anne Lamott book, loved it. Highly recommend. Enjoy. So if you're thinking about writing, I would definitely read this one. I had read this before, but somebody reminded me about it, the Stephen King book on writing. And it's, again, incredibly readable, charming. Obviously, one is in awe of his output and dreams of his income. But he's, again, both of these people talk about, reasons to write, not to make a good deal of money. Inadvertently, one could, but generally not. But the discussion about the exercise of writing is very good in both of these books. And third, but by no means least, we've got E.M. Forster, Aspects of the Novel. Now, I managed to get to 57 years old, and I've been an obsessive reader all my life. And how I have managed to never read this. I didn't read English at university. And I guess that's when people are given it. But I'm reading this, I love it, I'm loving it. And I'm about 2/3 of the way through, and I'm really enjoying it. It's a much slower, denser read than either Anne Lamott or Stephen King. But incredibly thoughtful and written by somebody who loves the form with a great passion. And that really shines through. So there you go. That's my update on writing. So I have written a book by the following spring after I said I would, probably a little bit later than I planned. And I have all sorts of ideas for more. And what I'm not going to do, tea cake, she's allergic to spring. So she scratches. Mish, mish. Come on, I swear. Wish we died. No more scratching. She scratches because the grass makes her feet. No. Anyway, and what I mustn't do now is get out of the habit. So the habit now of writing every day is very strong. So once I've done this edit, I will get back into the everyday. That is the way to be a writer, is to do it every day. Small amount, big amount, doesn't matter. And I don't think it matters whether you write in the King's English or whatever your local dialect is. So long as the story gets across in the language you speak, that's what matters. It doesn't matter if you use long words or fancy punctuation. The point is that you're telling a story. Whether you're non-fiction or fiction, you're still telling a story. You're still trying to engage with the author, with the reader, and give them something that they want to read more. And so it's not about writing what I call good girl writing. I'm not going to be marked for my essay by Mrs. Cates, who taught me English when I was a little girl. On the contrary, or Sister Stephanie, this poor nun who taught me D.H. Lawrence A-level. I felt sorry for her then, I feel sorry for her now. But it doesn't matter about the formality of the language or how good your English is, or whichever language you speak. It matters that you engage energetically with the reader, so that the reader then will join you through the information that you have to impart or the story that you have to tell. And if you're imparting information, chances are you're telling a story at the same time. Anyway, there you are, a little update. So whatever your writing project, I hope this has been helpful. I am astonished that I have managed to put together a manuscript in less than 6 months. And I am cutting quite a fair bit of it as I go through it. There's sort of stylistic repeat patterns which I'm putting into the manuscript, so that, because I think we read, okay, I'm going to say something very obvious. We read with our eyes, but if we give our eyes a break, so plenty of white space, not too dense, the writing on the page, feels like a slim volume, but it's a facsimile of an older edition, and the writing is dense and the typeface is so fat as to look almost smudged. So it's incredibly slow to read. And what I want with this book is that people will be able to dip in and out of it, navigate it very clearly. And so for that reason, plenty of white space is a good idea. Just give people room to find their way and repeat. If there's a particular kind of block on each chapter, then people can look for that block chapter by chapter. So even if they don't want to read the whole book, they can just look for those little bits. Or if they want to be reminded about what a chapter's about, then there'll be a section, repeat section all the way through, but not repeating the same words, obviously, but about the same thing for each chapter, which means that people can work their way through it quickly. And I think that's really handy, because not everybody has all the time in the world to sit down and read a book from cover to cover. Very few people do. Unless they're an obsessive compulsive like me. Anyway, I hope this has been helpful. Do put some comments. If you've got any other good writing books or books about writing that you'd like to recommend, that would be really helpful. People might enjoy those. If you have some writing experience that you'd like to share, good things, bad things, successes and so on, do share them in the comments, because I think people find it really, really helpful. Anyway, thanks very much for joining in. I'll get back to my editing.